Hey y'all,
What's up, y'all?
I'm Elise,
I'm Will.
and this is
Team
Tatum. Team Tatum! Today we are doing another one of our 1001. Hey y'all, Elise here. Two things really quickly. Number one, my hair looks crazy like that because I actually have on a headband. I was tired of my hair touching my face. Number two, the reason that William rolled his eyes at me just then and I said 1001 like that is because that wasn't our first take. He alleges that in our first take, I said 1000 instead of 1001, so I had to enunciate and pronounce the other one to make sure that he heard it. That is all. Movies you must watch before you die review. And today we are going to be doing Shadow of a Doubt.
Shadow of Doubt. Came out in 1943. It was in black and white, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it was in black and white. Short premise is there's a guy who's the favorite uncle to this girl, and he goes to visit her.
And the rest of the family.
Well, and the rest of the family. But only the niece really cares.
And the sister, because she hadn't seen her in a long time.
The sister. And trouble's afoot. He brings trouble to their doorstep. And yeah, that's pretty much the premise.
Warning, spoilers ahead.
So, we're going to try to talk about it more instead of going to play-by-play like we did with the first two. Well, this is our second 1001 movie review. But it's more just what we do anyway. We just watch the movie and then talk about it.
It's us being in our bed, because we usually, after we watch a movie, we are in the bed and we talk to each other about what we thought about the movie. It puts me in the mind of an Alfred Hitchcock style movie.
Ding, 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 ding. It was directed by Alfred Hitchcock.
You're directed by Alfred Hitchcock.
So if you're a fan of Alfred Hitchcock, then you probably already knew this movie. But if you didn't, check it out. So it starts off weird. Like the dude is just laying in bed. The main guy, I don't what was his name? Joseph Cotten. His Uncle Charles. Well, they call him Uncle Charlie. And the girl, his niece, who's like, she's his biggest fan, her name is also Charlie.
Named after him.
Yeah, she's named after him. Did you know anybody named Charlie? Is a woman?
Yes.
Okay.
Two girls, actually.
I know some other like typically male names for women to call, but that was my first time hearing Charlie. So he's Uncle Charlie's in his room and he's laying on his back and he's just kind of being broody. And there's two guys out front, you don't know what they're doing, and he's just laying in the bed. And then what you assume to be the landlady comes in and she's like, oh, you know, what are you doing? Like, he's got money on the ground. It's just a weird opening. Like, it's not what I expected a movie with that synopsis to start off with. And then basically he bounces from that place. So when he shows up, so I was reading this on trivia, when he shows up on a train, because I was thinking about this when we were watching the movie. I was like, why is this smoke so black? Like, it's super black coming out of the train.
Mm-hmm.
And it's black because the director wanted to show visually that he brings trouble where he goes, and so they made the smoke like extra black. Now the niece is all super ecstatic because she was a typical teenager, like, my life stinks and everybody is out to get me and yada yada yada. It's a weird relationship. They're like super close.
It's like boyfriend girlfriend type situations, type of a feel in some of the scenes.
Yeah. Like when she's standing next to him, she's standing like this close to him. And like,
oh.
Yeah, like her hand is rested on his chest when she's talking to him. And I was like, look, I have favorite uncles and aunts growing up, and I've got nieces and nephews who love me. We're not that close.
We hug.
Yeah, we hug.
Yes.
We're not anti-physical touch, but there's a line.
Stare lovingly into each other's eyes.
Like, oh,
gazing off into the moonlight together and stuff.
Yeah, it was super uncomfortable watching them. He's giving out gifts or whatever. He's just like, hey, I haven't seen you in like 5 years. I was like, how do people do that? How do people go years without seeing their siblings like that. Then I think about it, I've gone years without seeing my siblings.
Can't relate.
I have a slightly different situation. Anywho, he's come bearing gifts, and he gives her this ring, and I was like, that ring's gonna come back in the story somehow. And sure enough, also this is a spoiler. If you haven't watched the movie, stop.
It's a little late.
But yeah, sorry about that. We'll edit this and put a thing in the beginning. So the premise you wind up finding out is he's potentially wanted for murder, serial murder. Like he's a serial killer, and it turns out he kills lady killer. He gets in his boarding houses. He rents these rooms out that have like widowed landladies that have money from being a widow, and then he gets in close with them and he murders them, and then he bounces to the next spot.
He takes their money.
But we're not seeing any of this. The only time we've seen the landladies in the very beginning of the movie, and that's it. We don't find out why these two guys are like snooping around. You see him in the very beginning, he loses them. They wind up tracking him down to whatever little small town.
Small town, USA.
His family's at. And they pose as people wanting to interview like your typical American family. So they got a camera, and they're conducting interviews. But basically it's all a ruse just to get closer to him.
And the sister fell for it like a big gullible face. They told her that they won a contest that they didn't enter.
Right.
For being the most normal American family. And that they wanted to get footage of them living their everyday lives inside their home of being the average everyday American family. How did you win a contest if you didn't enter it? You think they just literally scoured every single family in the United States and chose your family?
Getting away from the family for a second, what was up with old boy? The dads, like, I don't even know if they were friends for real.
They were.
They were friends?
That's just what they like to talk about together. The daddy and his friend, maybe even his best friend, whenever they saw each other, they would tell each other how they were going to kill the other person. And then the other person, like I would tell William how I'm going to kill him. And then he would debunk that. Basically like, nope, you won't get away with it that way because blah, blah, blah. And so they kept trying to find out how to have the perfect murder, basically. That's their love language.
It turns out they were both fans of like mystery novels. Not mystery novels, but like murder, whodunit kind of things. And so, like she said, whenever, like as soon as you see that cat the first time, he's like, hey.
He walks in and be like, an icicle to the back. Like, no, hey, how you doing? Or nothing.
Yeah, just walked in the house. And again, this is pre people locking their doors.
Yeah.
This is before Annabelle happened. So eventually we find out that the two guys are cops. Because at first I was thinking like he owed him money.
The guys that were looking for the uncle.
Yeah, two guys looking for the uncle. I thought they were like coming to break his kneecaps.
Yeah.
But it turns out they're cops, and they've been chasing him all over the country or whatever. And he was called what was he called?
We'll insert that.
Yeah, we'll find out. But he's been hiding, Uncle Charlie's been hiding the paper every day because there's been like news clippings about the murders, and even though his family is super dumb and would never put two and two together, except for Charlie, the niece. Yeah. She's pretty on top of things.
She's like, I know what you're up to.
Yeah. She's just hanging on to every word he says, running around like a puppy attached to him, like an annoying little sibling who wants to go everywhere you go. Like she wants to go everywhere he goes, do everything that he does.
Until she doesn't.
Yeah, until
tables turn.
She finds out about the killings or whatever, right? And I think she found one of the newspaper clippings that he stuffed into his jacket.
Yeah.
Because she was like, he's being weird.
She knew that he cut the clipping out of the newspaper, and she was like, Daddy didn't read that yet. He's gonna be upset that that's missing. And he was like, he won't miss that part. It wasn't important. It was just something about somebody I know, so I wanted to cut it out to keep it. So she snuck and took it out of his jacket, and then she read it and was like, curiouser and curiouser. And her investigation starts.
She takes that newspaper clipping and goes to the library and looks up in the genealogy department old records and puts 2 and 2 together and all that, and she's like, oh my God, I think my uncle may be a serial killer. Also, going back to him giving the gifts, he gave her this ring, and on the ring it had some initials. And she was like, what are these initials? And he's like, don't worry about that, girl.
It was like somebody's initials from somebody's initials.
And
she's like, why would you give me
this?
Yeah,
why would you give me this ring?
Without my initials and your initials on it.
Exactly. And he was like, hush up, little girl. So when she's researching...
Got an estate sale was basically his excuse.
Yeah. When she's researching the papers, she sees one of the most recent murders, and the initials of the woman who got murdered are the same as on the ring. And did they say that jewelry was missing in the thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That she was missing a ring.
Yeah. So at that point, she's like, confirmed my uncle's a serial killer. And basically confronts him about it. Like, doesn't directly confront him about it, but it's weird enough.
Yeah. He knows that she knows.
Yeah, he knows that she knows. So he's telling her, like, I know you know, without admitting any fault.
Yeah.
So he's threatening her.
I know you're thinking about stuff, but stop thinking about it.
Yeah.
Get it out your head.
Like, their relationship switches real quick. And it's like, oh, Uncle Charlie's about that life.
Family? Family.
So it gets to a point where she doesn't back off, so he's like,
gotta see
it through, my boy. And basically concocts his plan to kill her with carbon monoxide poison.
Yeah, make it look like an accident.
So they're going to this big event, and he's like, go out and check the car. Go and get the car. And it's in the...
I was just about to tell the backstory.
Oh, go ahead.
She's going to get the car, which is in the garage. Backstory, the garage door gets stuck sometimes. Like if the wind blows, it'll push close with you in there, and it automatically locks when it closes. So
somebody on the outside has to get you out.
Yeah.
So he knows this, and basically lures her in there by telling her to go start up the car or something, and then closes her in, and the car's already running, and he's broken the key off.
Into the ignition.
Yeah, so she can't turn the car off, and she does like pass out from the gas. But unfortunately for him, the weirdo best friend of the dad, who's always coming up with the murder scenarios, happens to be walking by. Because even though didn't nobody invite him to this event, he showed up and was like, "Good thing I was walking by."
I'm always invited, baby.
I think somebody, but. He heard her coughing in there.
Yeah, he's like
went past the garage, knocked on the front door, was like, I think somebody's in your garage choking to death. And they run out
me
and save. And I was like, she could have died. Like, if you hear somebody coughing in the garage, help me now. Don't go ask somebody, do you know somebody choking in your garage? So Uncle Charlie, jumps to be a hero. He's like, let me go. And goes in there, opens the door, puts the key back in the ignition, and turns it off and drags her out. Yeah, I don't know how that works. But they're like, how did this happen? And she was like, I couldn't find the key. And he was like, oh, the key was in the ignition. It's right there. I turned it off. And at this, she's like, you tried to kill me, but doesn't say it out loud because she doesn't want to break her mom's heart, because her mom is also like, this is my favorite person in the world.
Yeah.
I don't care. My mom would have been sad that day. I would have been like, Uncle Charlie tried to kill me. And so now Uncle Charlie's pissed, and fast forward, they do the event anyway, and the whole town is there basically, and they're just like, ooh, Uncle Charlie, you're a man of, he's the most interesting man in the world, basically.
Right, I still don't even know why he was invited to speak at the event.
Just because he
was an out of town, and they're like, you from somewhere else, come tell us things.
I forgot what Charlie the girl does. She comes down in the middle of his speech because they're having like an after party at their house. So they went. I think they went to the Lions Club to have the event, and then she was like, after party at my house, and so they all go back to the family house, and Charlie comes downstairs in the middle of Uncle Charlie giving a toast, and she says something to him.
Yeah, she was basically about to rat him out, but then what happened?
I forgot. That's what I was asking you.
The 2 cops came and were like, you're in luck. The actual other man that we were following, he killed himself, and we believe it's because he was guilty of killing these women. They didn't really have any proof other than he killed himself.
Again, this is back in the day. The detective work wasn't what it is today.
Yeah, so he killed himself. The other suspects, they were like, must have been guilty, couldn't take it no more, so you're off the hook. And then Uncle Charlie was like, either way, it's too hot here. I gotta get out of this place. And the sister was all sad, was like, but you just got here and I haven't seen you in so long. And he was like, I gotta go, big sis. See you later. And so he was leaving on the train. The whole family got on the train to say goodbye to him.
Let's back up. Hold that thought. Put a pin in it. Let's go back to these cops. 2 cops. One of them looked like John C. Reilly. He's not important. The younger one, the more attractive one, who's clearly a grown man.
At least 35.
At least 35. Takes a liking to Charlie, the girl, the niece. She's in high school still.
Like a senior in high school.
Yeah, she's like a senior in high school.
Don't know if she's 18, but she is a senior in high school.
Senior in high school. And they basically become an item. Like at first he's just questioning her, and then the questioning turns into, I like you.
No, he went straight to love. I love you, girl. I'm gonna come back and get you.
Yeah.
We're gonna be married.
We were like, what is up with these relationships in this movie? None of it is cool. Go on.
So the whole family's in the train telling him goodbye, but the train's about to leave. So they're like, hurry up, we're about to get stuck on this train. So everybody got off except for little Charlie, because Uncle Charlie was holding her arm and wouldn't let her leave. And she was like, let me go, I gotta get off this train. And he's like, you ain't going nowhere, little girl. And so then, because she still knew that he was the killer, but he just got off for it.
Yeah.
And
I gotta make sure you don't talk to him about it.
I gotta, what's the word? I was about to say I gotta untie some strings. That ain't right.
Tie up some loose ends.
Yes. That. So the train gets to going real good, and
they start tussling.
You know how the train doors are still open on the sides, like when you walk in between the different compartments. He took her to one of those openings, and you just see the rails going by faster and faster. He fighting her, and she's like, no. And he trying to push her off the train. Finally, they get into it. He fell off the train.
What a twist.
Got ran all the way over by the train. Dead. Then, I guess she just stayed on the train. I don't really know how she got off. They didn't show that part.
Yeah. The movie ends.
Yeah, it ended with him dying from getting run over. But, long story short, justice was still served. Since he got ran over by a train and all.
So yeah, there was a shadow of a doubt up until she got that newspaper clipping. So the title of the movie was accurate. We just told, the whole thing. Whole movie, what we thought. It was weird. The acting, I think, was okay. Like everybody did, especially the
little girl. Yeah. Oh, also.
Yeah, there's 2 other children.
There was a little sister and a little brother.
The little boy was terrible. He can get him out of here. Get him out of here. But the little girl, and I swear I've seen her someplace.
She looks like the little girl off of Hope Floats with Sandra Bullock. But it was something else she was on. It's not her, clearly, because, Hope Floats is basically current day. And this movie is from when black and white movies are out.
1943.
But that's who she puts me in the mind of. Like how that girl acted on Hope Floats. That's how this little girl acted on this movie too.
Yeah, she was great. The mom was pretty good.
But got on my times though.
Yeah, the mom was just super dumb. Like, she was not a good representation of women in the 40s.
Yeah.
It's like, look at you.
She was what they wanted the representation of women in the 40s to be. She was spot on for that, but not a good actual representation.
Housewife. I was like, look at yourself.
Look at yourself.
The dad was like, he didn't care about nothing.
Right.
Except for when he almost got fired at the bank.
He could have not even been in this movie.
Yeah, he was almost pointless except for the bank scene. Like, that's the only time he was of any use to the story. Yeah, overall, good acting, good, cinematography. There's a couple of cool shots. I can't think of any off the top of my head right now.
It was a nice plot.
Yeah, it was a nice plot and all that. And I would say that this is a movie you should watch before you die. Would you say so?
Yes.
Okay. So we're currently 2 for 2 in movies you should watch before you die. I think I gave Shadow of a Doubt 3 Cowboy Ninjas out of 5.
Yeah, and I gave it 3.5 Cowboy Ninjas out of 5, which is an average of
3.25.
Bingo.
For the record, we only give a rounded up number or half. The half is like it could have gone up to that next one. So she's saying it almost was 4 stars, but not quite there. So we don't do like the 3.687 out of 5. That's dumb. Anybody who does that, you're dumb. Don't do it. Yeah, I said it. It's either full or you almost had it. That's it. There ain't no random fractions off in there. So yeah, we watched it on Amazon Prime. So if you want to watch it, Amazon Prime, to see for yourself, even though we told the whole movie, but we're always going to tell the whole movie because we're talking about the movie.
But we also still left some stuff out.
At the end of the day, we're trying to help you decide if this movie needs to be on this prestigious list of movies you need to see before you die. So far we're 2 for 2. We'll see how it goes. And on that note, this has been another episode of Team Tatum. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, tell your mama, tell your friends, tell your enemies. Comment down below if you've seen this movie and what you thought about this movie. Also, if you know what's wrong with this one, you with this one. And let us know if you would watch this movie, hearing us talk about it, even though we talk about all of it. And we'll catch you next time on Team Tatum.
Bye.